Proportions and percents. This is a quick overview of our proportions and percent unit. The first skill you need to know is finding the percent of a number. So when we ask for what's 12% of 80, what you're going to have to do is convert that percentage into a decimal by sliding its decimal 2 places to the right. The word of always means to multiply. So 12% of 80 would be rewritten as 0.12 times 80, 12 hundredths times 80. And then you type that in your calculator. You are allowed to use a calculator. And you get 9 6/10. Go ahead and pause the video and try working these problems out. Pause the video, try working these problems out. So, you've paused the video, now you're back. This first one, 5% of 50 would be rewritten as 5 hundredths, 0.05. Remember, the decimal always slides 2 places to the left. So when you work that out, you get 2.5. 110% would be rewritten as 1 1/10 times 40. And you end up getting 44 for that one. 4.5%, 4 5/10% of 35 would be rewritten as 45 thousandths times 35. And that works out to 1 575 thousandths. Now we're going to find out about tax amount, tip amount, and discount amount. If they're asking for one of those amounts, basically you just do what we just did. You make your percentage into a decimal and you multiply by the price. So if they're asking for the tax amount on a $12.50 t-shirt that has a 4.5% tax rate, you're going to do 0.045 times 12.5. The 4.5% became the 0.045. The price stays exactly the same. So when you work that out, you end up getting a number that goes out 4 decimal places. We'll be rounding that to the hundredths, and it rounds out to 56 cents. So you'd be paying 56 cents extra for tax. How much would a 20% tip be on a meal that costs $25.99? You're going to multiply 0.2 times $25.99, the 0.2 being the 20%, and then the price. So when you work that out, you get 5.198. And you're going to round that. That's going to round to $5.20. So you'd be paying $5.20 extra. You'd leave that for your waiter or waitress. Now we're going to talk about discount. If I have a $70 pair of shoes, they're on sale with a 35% discount. How much will I save? Well, we take our 35%, make it into a decimal. We bring our price down, we multiply those. You get 24.5, so that means your discount amount is $24.50. So that's to find the discount amount. So now we're going to talk about what we just learned. We're going to summarize. To find your tax, tip, or discount amount, first you're going to make your percentage to a decimal. You're going to do that by sliding your decimal 2 places to the left. Then you're going to multiply that decimal by the cost. You're going to round to the hundredths if necessary, because money doesn't go past the hundredths. Now we need to learn how to find sale price and total cost. Basically, you repeat what we just did and we do one more step. It's real easy. So this looks a lot like our previous problem. It says, what is the total price for a $12.50 t-shirt with a 4.5% tax rate? Well, we find out what our tax amount is. We do that by multiplying the 4.5%, 0.045, multiplying it by $12.50, just like what we did before. So that's our tax amount. Now we need to find the total cost by adding the tax to the original cost. So we take your cost, add the tax. There is your total cost, $13.06. Now we're doing tip amounts. How much would I pay for a meal that costs $25.99? including a 20% tip. We're going to find the tip amount just like what we did, 0.2 times $25.99, and we get our amount. Now that was rounded, $5.20 was rounded. We take that to figure out the total cost. You add that tip amount to the cost, and you're going to be paying $31.19. That is your total cost for the meal. That's the price of the meal plus a little extra for your waiter or waitress. Now we're going to talk about discount. We've got our $70 shoes. They're on sale with a 35% discount. How much will the shoes cost? How much will we pay? We find the discount amount. The discount amount is what we're going to save. We do that by multiplying the percentage as a decimal times the cost. You get $24.50 as your discount amount. That's not what you're paying. That's how much you're saving. So you figure out the cost by subtracting $70, and then you subtract 24.5. So $45.50 is your sale price. That's how much you'd actually pay. So tax, tip, discount summary. To find the tax, tip, or discount amount, all you need to do is multiply. That's when you do your percentage as a decimal and multiply by the cost. If you're finding total cost, including a tip or tax, you're going to need to do that multiplying, and then you're going to add that extra amount to your original cost. So you multiply, then add. To find the sale price of something that has a discount, you're going to do something, then something. What would you do? You'd multiply, then subtract. So for all these types of problems, you're always going to be multiplying your percentage by the cost. And then, depending on what they're asking for, sometimes you just need to multiply and you're done. Other times you're going to multiply, then add, or multiply, then subtract, depending on the situation. This is where you need to read real carefully. Okay, we're going to take a break, stand up, hit pause, do some jumping jacks, something like that. Okay, we're back. Proportions now is what we need to talk about. The first thing you need to know is a proportion. Any proportion is two ratios that are equal. So if you see something like this, you've got a ratio and another ratio, and they're both equal to each other. And if you notice, 8/12, if you divided both of those by 4, it would work out to 2/3. So these are two ratios that are equal. In this unit, you're going to be calling these fractions ratios because they're a comparison of two values. Comparison of two values, comparison of two values. So now we're going to talk about solving incomplete proportions. 3/4 or 3/4 equals something over 7. I'm going to show you a trick that works all the time when solving incomplete proportions. What you want to do is multiply the diagonal numbers. So the two diagonal numbers are 3 and 7. And then you're going to divide by the other number that they give you. So you're going to multiply 3 times 7, then divide by 4. And that works out to 5 25/100. That's what would go in for your missing number. This unit does allow decimals to be within the fractions. So don't panic if you get something strange like this. If you're doing it right, sometimes you do get that. Let's go ahead and look at these problems. Go ahead and try solving these problems on your own. So hit pause on your video player. Try working these out on your own. Hit pause now. Okay, hopefully you hit pause and now you're going to be having all the correct answers here. Let's look at this top right one. We have 3/m equals 12/8. We would multiply the diagonals, then divide by the other number. So we're going to multiply 3 times 8, or 8 times 3, and then divide by 12. We end up getting 2. So that does work out to 2. So 3 to 2 is the same as 12 to 8. For the next problem, the bottom left problem, we would do 5 times 5 divided by 2. and we would end up getting 12 and a half, 12 and 5/10. So that would be your missing number. The next problem, you would multiply 24 times 9 and divide by 6. And you would end up getting 36. So R would work out to 36. That's how we solve incomplete proportions. Now we're going to learn how to apply these proportions in word problems. So application of proportions. Let's say we have a problem like this. Bobby made $200 in 3 days while mowing lawns. If he continues mowing lawns at this rate, how much money can he make when working for 10 days? What we want to do is set up a word ratio to figure out what values we're comparing, and then we're going to set up our proportion. Well, the words that we're dealing with, the 200 is representing money that he makes, and then the 3 represents the days. So we're dealing with money to days. So our incomplete proportion is going to be 200 over 3, because that's comparing the $200 in 3 days. That is our completed ratio. Now we're going to set up our incomplete ratio. We've got something over 10. The reason I've got 10 as a denominator is we're dealing with 10 days, and anything dealing with days is going to be in the denominator according to our word ratio. We said money to days, so we've got 200 to 3 equals blank to 10. So now we just do the same thing we were doing before. We multiply the diagonals and divide by that other number. So 200 times 10 divided by 3 gives us 666.6666666666. So we're dealing with money. That is going to round to the nearest hundredths place. It's going to round to $666.67. And that's how much money he would make in 10 days. Some good money. In a class, the ratio of boys to girls is 4 to 3. If there are 16 boys in the class, how many girls are there? We want to set up a word ratio. We're dealing with boys to girls. The first ratio we're going to set up is 4 to 3 because they say that boys to girls, the ratio of boys to girls is 4 to 3. That's why 4 is the numerator. We made boys the numerator over in our word ratio. Then we've got some other number. We've got this 16. That 16, is it going to be a numerator or a denominator? That 16 is going to be a numerator because it's dealing with boys. And we already said in our word ratio, anything dealing with boys is going to be a numerator. So now we do our multiply your diagonals. 3 times 16 divided by 4. And it works out to 12. There are 12 girls in the class. So that's how you apply proportions. The best thing you need to remember is to show your work. You better show your work or this baby's going to be mad at you. That's it.